Finally, it's all working. This seems good. We just had some issues with the previous ones. Sorry about all the trouble that's been happening. Let me just go over and cancel the previous ones. Okay, so I'm just going to go in and put in the poll here, which I had put in the previous one. Just go ahead and make sure you guys are putting that in. You all should get an update as well. We're just having some trouble with the audio and the video, so it's just me today. Sean or Nikhil is not joining, so that's that. If you guys can hear me clearly, just go in and say hi. And just say hello to everybody, whoever's joining in. So yeah, the markets do look pretty good because no one's giving too much shit about what's going on, what's currently going on with the Israel-Iran issue that's currently there. So that's a good thing. I mean, people aren't really worried about all of those things that's going on, but that's cool. It works at this moment. So we're at 21,804 on the Nasdaq. Let's see what else is going on. How's everything going with you guys? What's currently going on? Some of the stocks are up, like I think Celsius is up about 5.5%. Rest of the stocks are up about a percent. Nvidia is up 1%, so that's good. That's nice to see. That's going to take the Nasdaq up higher also. So that's looking good. Let's see what else is happening. Let me go over some of the news. So one of these things that I did see, which was pretty cool, was oil prices have collapsed. They have come down substantially lower. So that is something that I've been seeing. Oil in itself is dropping, right? Oil at the moment was at about almost closer to 72, 73 on that, down about 2%, 69 now, 69.945, right? Anyways, everyone, so welcome to Signal and Sentiment. How's it going with you guys? Just drop and say hi. Nice to see everyone in the chat. Also, we got about 23 people live right now. We had some form of technical issue, but screw that. That is a problem not we don't need to worry about today. Good thing, oil is down. Oil's dropped all the way from 72, 73 that I last saw, about 14% up on Friday, right? That was actually scary. When we were doing our live, that's what we were wondering about. If we do get into a scenario where we are higher for way longer when it comes to oil, especially if we do go down to $100 oil, that would start getting a bit scary, right? Now we're dropping 2%. Now, something that I did see on Twitter, now I don't know how much of this is true, but some of the insiders on the Iranian diplomats who do not want to be named have come out and said that they're ready to stop enriching uranium if they have a face saving in this war, which actually seems pretty cool, right? So that's going to be fun to actually see what's exactly going on if that is this thing. Because remember, this is something that I've been saying even when it comes to markets going higher. Let me make it simple. If the war for some reason starts dissipating and reducing in form of velocity, oil will go back lower than where it was before. You'll see it go back down below 65 and below 60, right? And we will come back on live. And when we're doing this, I will return back to this day to tell you that oil, what we were expecting was a move back towards $60. If in case oil does head back towards 100 US, right, we would enter a recession. We would enter a recession clean and clear. If it's able to get to 100, $120, that's a double in a year. We've always had a recession. That's not the base case that I had on Friday. That's not the base case that I have today as well. Even though everybody was shitting in their pants all over the weekend, thinking the market's going to go down 2%, 2.5%, none of that is actually happening. It's not as scary as people think it is. Anyways, let me just go in and say hi to everybody. Audley Fox, how's it going? Jason, how's it going? Nice to see you, Wage Freedom. Nice to see you, Baller. He's got Colombian resources for a discount. Anyways, that is cool. We all wish to be in Colombia someday as well. I have this funny thing that if Jerome Powell decides to hike, he will have to join the MS-13 and leave for El Salvador because that's how bad it's going to get. Anyways, so that's just weird in its own way. Anyways, I actually do believe that these guys are going to solve their shit out. Everything's going to be fine. For everyone that's new here, we do this every day at about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, New York time. So join in for the pre-market. We do a post-market as well. Go ahead and subscribe because I do this pretty much without a timeline. You guys will just get an update. So hit that bell thing because then you'll know when I'm online. And then whenever I'm online, just come in and we can talk. Go ahead with all of your questions that you have. Anything else that you have about the markets that's currently going on. I'm just going to go over a few things. Something that's been going on over the weekend has been the amount of bearish sentiment that has been there over the weekend. Everybody has been worried about the fact that the markets are going to be collapsing. The amount of time that it's taking people to realize that this is a very strong bull market. Understand this, guys. If Iran and Israel issue is not causing a bear market or a fall in prices, right? Considering they're literally bombing each other's living daylights out. They're literally bombing each other out. Now, who's bombing more? I don't want to get into that. But more importantly, what I want to get into is the fact that what I am seeing is that the market is pretty much going higher and higher. And that is going to be the case for this year as well. I don't want to keep telling you guys that we're seeing 7,000, we're seeing 6,500. Is it going to be happening? It is more than likely that we're heading higher. If we had to head lower, it would pretty much be a scenario where we would have already seen that fall, right? On Friday, we would have been down to 2.5% on a 7% to 8%, and at one point of time, 14% up move on oil. Today you're down. Today you're down already 1.68%. We're hitting $70 on on a barrel of oil, right? Gold's headed lower 0.5%. The reason that is because there is a risk on sentiment. Another thing that's happening this week is Jerome Powell is meeting. The entire FOMC is going to come together. They're not going to cave into President Trump, even though people do expect that to happen. That is not going to happen. So let me be crystal clear here. Powell needs to be dovish, even if he's not giving us a cut. His speech will have to be dovish because at this moment, he cannot go against what President Trump is saying when it comes to inflation. Because let's be honest, inflation is lowering. The employment numbers are okay. They're not great, but they are good. It's resilient. The economy is looking like it needs a boost. So a cut on interest rates is very welcome. 0.25, is it going to change anything? No. Does it create a trajectory towards lower prices? Yes. Right? Lower prices is going to lead to more risk on sentiment, more amount of people joining the party, and stocks go higher, which is why you're seeing all these IPOs come out, right? Look at Chime, look at CoreWeave. These guys are up almost 400, 500%, right? At least for CoreWeave. It's up so much. So keep in mind, this is something that I've been saying before as well. You are more than likely going to be seeing 7,000 on the S&P 500 this year. Maybe 6,500 is good enough as well. If someone told me in April when we had these tariff trades that would you get 6,500 by year end, would you take it? I would take it 100%. We were at 4,900, 4,800, knocking on the doors of a bear market for the S&P 500, right? So just think about that. WhatsApp ads will appear in updates tab in app, Meta says. So again, everyone's going to be making money when it comes to advertisements, right? So, I mean, let me just let you know that Iran's foreign ministry says Israel's attack on a hospital in western Iran is a war crime. Okay, cool. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm on nobody's side on that war. I'm on the side of capitalism. I'm here to make money. I stick to my lane. I'm not very good when it comes to who's right, who's wrong in geopolitics, but I'm very good when it comes to how does it affect equity markets. That is what I care about. Uh, Anyways, So oil prices are way below the highs on Friday and as of last night, right? So Saudi Arabia is open on Sundays. A lot of the Middle Eastern markets are open on Sundays, and one of the things that I saw, and this is what I do on Sundays, I usually go down and check how the Saudi Arabian index has done, how the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange has done. The way these stock exchanges perform usually tells you how Monday would perform, especially when you have Middle Eastern tensions. So Tel Aviv stock index was up about 1.6, 1.7%. That is not something you're going to be seeing when they're at war throwing bombs on each other, right? That clearly told me that, listen, guys, this is just too much of nonsense that people were expecting. And in a way, when the futures opened, we were down 1.5% to almost 2% on US markets. And we recovered all of that. And we're in the green right now. So as we speak, we're about 25 minutes away from market opening, and we're about 170 points up on the Nasdaq. So we're at 21,807 and about a percent up on the S&P 500, close to a percent up on the S&P 500. Anyways, so that's that. I want to know how many of you guys actually did think that we were going to shit in our pants today in terms of equity prices going lower. And don't lie to me, just drop it into the chat and tell me if you actually did believe that on the Friday night closing and what you saw on Saturday and Sunday, especially on Sunday when you did see Israel attacking Iranian oil facilities and Iran attacking the Haifa port in Israel. Did you actually believe that the markets would open in the green? Well, we got 25 minutes away and we're still most likely going to be opening in the green. So that's that, right? UBS comes out and says that the market is overreacting to Middle East tensions. See, if it was a red day, these were the same guys that would have come out and said that Middle Eastern tensions what's going to cause the bear market. So don't go and buy nonsense from any of these analysts. Most of them don't even know what's going on. Right. Now, this is fascinating. This is something that I actually spend time on, which is digital advertising, because I like seeing what's going on in that space. Considering Reddit is down more than 50, 60% from its all time high. But Reddit is now the second most cited search in Google's AI overviews, right behind Quora, according to SEMrush. The bump comes after a 60 million content licensing deal with Google in 2024. Analysts say it may not translate to real gains. Much of Reddit's traffic is coming from logged out users who bounce fast, which limits ad value. AI overview summarize info right on Google's page, making clickbacks to Reddit less likely. Anyway, story being that people that are writing Reddit's end are not realizing that Reddit is becoming a source for people to go and find humans where they can interact with. As you enter the phase of AI and all of the other stuff, maybe some answers you would need AI for, and most you will, but you will eventually want a human as well to answer some of your questions. Because those kind of issues that a human faces, the AI is not going to be able to fix that. And that's happened with me as well. When I've been doing a few things that I need for my personal life, sometimes I have to go down to Reddit. And you see ads and comments. You're now able to make some of these ads also visible on on posts, which are kind of, you can also make your post now a subreddit in itself. So that's something that they started over the weekend. So that's good, right? And here's the other thing. Reddit makes a lot of money through other income. They have about 2.5 billion US dollars in cash. They're going to be making literally money back on interest. That's one. Second, they have licensing deals. Remember, this is the most important part, which a lot of people forget. If AI is actually going to take over, some of these answers that people are giving on Reddit is now going to move on to these AI LLMs. Now, what are these AI LLMs, right? So, OpenAI, Claude, all of these guys are going to be, they're basically already paying. Now, I think Claude, Anthropic, and Reddit has an issue, but other than that, look at OpenAI, look at Google, right? There is money that's being given by these companies to Reddit for licensing. So basically, a lot of their answers, a lot of their questions go back to Chat GPT in order to give you a better answer. So even though you might not go to Reddit, but you will get an answer that comes from Reddit with the help of Reddit providing you with those answers. Now, for that, Reddit makes money. So, and a stock that's down 60, 65% and is going to be playing the AI game as well as has users and growing, I don't really think it's a bad bet if it's down 60%, right? Especially in a market that is about what, 2% away from an all time high. So that's that, right? Uh, Anyways, let me see. Sean says nothing beats US markets. That is true to a large extent. I don't deny that. because it is so liquid and so diverse in its funding requirements as well as in the way that you can go and buy. Like I'll tell you one thing, something that differentiates America from everywhere else in terms of liquidity as well as financial instruments is I don't know of many places in this world, I don't know of none other than the US at this moment that has a liquidity pipeline for options that trade 2 years out, right? In some countries, I know the options even 3 months out don't have liquidity. Here you have liquidity for a 2 year out option, right? So literally, I could buy a 2027 expiry on a particular product on let's say Reddit, right? If I believe Reddit's going to double and I don't want to pay up all the money in that and I want to buy an option, I could literally buy a 2027 call option, uh, right? Look at Nike. Nike, I'm able to buy a 19th December 2027 call option. That is literally, I don't know what, 2 years now, almost 2 years, 2.5 years out that I could buy an option and all it needs to do is flip and double. And I think it will, but let's see what happens, right? Anyways, I actually do believe that oil is going to head towards the $50 number. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to go to 50, but it could go down to in between 50 and 60 is my number where I expect it. Because remember, the administration wants a lower oil price. So as much as the war is happening, all of that's happening, they're eventually not going to want this to keep going. This will stop very soon. Now, how soon? I don't know. Nobody knows, right? Or whoever knows is not trading for sure. But what I do believe is that if everybody's incentive is to a lower oil price, and by everybody I mean within America, they will make sure that this does not escalate to such a high level that we seem to be falling into a recession purely because of the fact that now we have $100 oil, which we could have sold. Remember, the only reason why I also expect that to happen is because when he did the tariffs and he literally obliterated everybody out here, right? He called it liberation, but I don't know who he liberated. But irrespective of that, with the way the markets fell and how he had to cave in and change his whole scenario all over again, my belief is he doesn't want that to happen with a higher oil price. Can President Trump, to a certain, I was asked this question, can President Trump flip the equity markets the way he did, the same way as he's going to, can he do that with oil? No. That's the reason why he will have to make these changes a lot earlier. So, what I mean to say is that if he wants the price of stocks to go up, he wants bond yields to go down, he can stop with this tariff nonsense, right? That's okay. That is in his control. Once oil starts heading up and starts going towards $100, there's no coming back. You can't just say, I'm going to pump more tomorrow morning and it's going to drop. No, you cannot do that. It is not so easy, right? A lot of the countries globally also make a lot of money, especially in the Middle East with a higher oil price. So I'm guessing this is again one of his new art of the deals, and he just wants to go ahead and try putting a pin in the nuclear deal somehow. If they were not ready to sign it with pens, they're now ready going to be signing it because there's missiles flying over their head, right? That's just my bet, the way I look at things. I'm not part of any of this thought process as to who's right, who's wrong. For me, it's looking at it as to how it affects the equity market, plain and simple. So I'm just trying to figure out the framework as to how people think and what are their incentives. If these two things align to a lower oil price, for me, that means that the Iran Israel war will come to an end faster than more people believe. And if that happens, we will head to new all time highs. Remember, like I've been saying, the markets need to climb a wall of worry. If the markets need to climb a wall of worry, this is a very good worry. We had a bond yield worry, we had an employment worry, we had an inflation worry. All of those are reducing now. So we have a new Iran Israel war to worry about. But if that gets solved, prices are going to start heading higher, right? How much do you guys want to bet on the fact that as the price of oil starts heading below 65, 67, and the Iran Israel war starts steaming, you are going to start seeing 22,000 and higher on the NASDAQ? And we'll go higher even before this war began. Not because of the fact that, oh, we were anyways going to be heading higher. You know why we're going to go there? Is because uncertainty gets reduced, and uncertainty at this moment is just heading higher and higher. Somewhere they're saying they're going to have diplomatic talks. Some places they're saying no, they're going to obliterate each other. The point is no one knows anything, right? But the concept is that if things start improving even a bit, it is going to cause stock prices to head high. So that's how you should look at things as well. Stop worrying about the fact as to which refinery got blown up where and what who's getting killed where. None of our concern. I'm serious about it. None of our concern. We stick to our lane of capitalism, and that's about it. Right? Let me just see what's happening. So we got about 8 votes in, and people still believe slight green dip gets bought. I don't even think we'll dip. That's my bet. I think we're still going to open about a percent and a half, and go higher from there. I don't think it's going to be a bad day unless and until obviously the whole of Tel Aviv blows up or the whole of Tehran blows up. Now, if that happens, yeah, we got issues on hand, but that's not something we worry about today. Let me just go see what else is happening in this world. Israeli Air Force began a new wave of airstrikes. So again, this is something that I was telling someone about when it came to the tariffs. Think of this. When we had tariffs at 145%, everyone was shit scared and everybody sold stocks. Everyone that panic sold is not come back. I can tell you that. I'm pretty sure that people that sold between the April 2nd to April 9th regret selling as much as they did. And to a large extent, a lot of them would want to come back into the equity markets and they're waiting for a pullback, right? Fair enough. Whatever happens about that pullback, we'll see. The largest story in play. Now that we have a Geneva deal that worked out, and then Geneva became London, and then London was a deal in order to get the Geneva deal back on table, right? So we had a deal to get a deal which will eventually have a better deal somewhere in the future, which no one knows about. But anyways, the point is you had a 35% tariff on China, and America was paying a 10% tariff, right, on any of their products entering China. Now he said that the deal has happened, and now the American tariff is at 55%. Now here's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. The 35 went to 55, but the market rallied. Think about it again. Tariffs increased, but the market rallied. The market rallied because everyone started expecting, oh, you know what? The deal's actually happening. Maybe there's another way. This is the reason why the market rallied. Everybody got it wrong. The market rallied purely because of the fact that, okay, at least these two guys can come together at some scenario where they're on the same table deciding on something, rather than saying, let's just keep going up the ladder as much as we can, which both of them knew they can't keep going on. Point being, the first time Israel attacks Iran, markets collapse. The second time it happens, markets are looking at it. The third time it happens, they don't care. It starts reducing because the effect is already into stock prices, right? That is exactly what is happening right now. The same thing that happened with the tariffs. The first time you were hit with it, the markets collapsed massively. The second time you were hit with it, even with the 35 going to 55, the market rallied. Today is the third or fourth day that this Iran Israel thing is going. The market's like, okay, cool. You guys can continue fighting. I'm going to continue going up. That is bull markets. Okay. Plain and simple. That is how bull markets are. So I am more bullish when I see these kind of things, especially when the news is bearish. Most of the times when the news is bearish and I see these kind of moves on stock prices, it makes me realize that the bull market is certainly going to go on and keep going on because a lot of people are still going to panic. There is no two ways and no two reasons, anything else for me to explain to you guys about that. Anyways, you guys have any questions or anything, just drop in into the chats. I'm just going to go and see a few stocks. I just want to see what's happening with Nvidia and maybe Meta as well, considering they have some new advertisements that's currently going on. So Nvidia is up about 0.99, so that's not a bad number at all. Let me see what else is there. Yeah, so Nvidia is at about 143.38, so that's not a good bad price. Something else that I was asked the other day was how much of a pullback do I see? Everyone's expecting a 6%, 8% pullback, right? My point is, in a bull market, you don't get more than a 3-4% pullback unless and until you have something which is a lot more scarier, right? Now, at times you can have 5% pullbacks and all of that. The fact that the Iran Israel thing is not giving us a pullback of 5-6% makes me want to question the fact as to whether we'll even have a larger pullback. We might go higher and then fall maybe 5%. That could be possible, but from today, it would be tough for me to see a 5% pullback, especially with however bad the news has already gotten. Right. And remember, all throughout the past 2 years, from October 7th, when all the war has been happening, we've never had a direct confrontation between Iran and Israel. You always had proxy wars and all the other stuff that was going on. For the first time, you're actually seeing them go head to head, and you're seeing the market go higher. Tel Aviv Stock Exchange was actually up. Let me actually go and check. I'll give you the exact numbers what was happening over the weekend. Tel Aviv Stock Exchange was actually up when I saw it on that day. Right. Even today, even though it's down about 1.7%, you were pretty much looking at, yeah. So what happened on? Let me see. Yeah, so you made a low at 15 on the Tel Aviv exchange, which closed at 16.22. So you would only fall from there. You're not going to recover. Right? Let me get this question. It says if Iran and Israel come to a deal, they're not coming to a deal, bro. There's no way they're coming to a deal. It's America and Iran that come to a deal, and Israel agrees to that. That's what it is. That's it. And you know when that's going to happen is when all of these reactors that they're trying to create or whatever that they're trying to do with their uranium comes to an end, either through them shutting it down or Israel bombing the living daylights out of it. When those two things happen, they have no choice but to make a deal. This is what I was telling you guys on Friday as well. You don't need Iran to make a deal. You need Iran to have nothing to lose in order to come and say, oh, okay, listen, let's make a deal. Right? That's what's going to happen. Let me see. You think we could still see higher Nasdaq prices, or maybe the bond markets might pour water on that dream? My bet is we'll still see higher prices. I am very much unlikely to believe that the equity bull market in America is going to get killed because Iran and Israel are currently exchanging ballistic missiles. But there is a caveat to that, and which I keep saying is every day more important than looking at equity markets, look at the price of oil. If you start seeing the price of oil head lower, like the way it is heading lower today, you will eventually see equity prices go higher as oil goes low. You're not going to see this party continue for oil if Iran and Israel basically have even 1% of a chance of a deal. 1%, right? Their diplomat has currently said that I want to stay anonymous, but can you please make sure that we get a deal done? We're not ready to enrich any more uranium. And without enriching uranium, their basic concept is that can we win? I mean, this is politics, right? Everybody needs a face saving part of the deal. So the face saving that maybe Iran wants is some form of a deal where they're basically also, bombing the living daylights out of Israel in some cattle shed somewhere, and they're like, okay, we killed so many people. That's about it. Do I see that likely to happen? 100%. I do believe that. Uh, for the first time, I think even Europe and Britain are, after not supporting Israel for a long time in the Gaza war, looking at the scenario that Iran must not have the weapon. And that is something that makes me bullish as well, because I'm like, if a lot of more countries come together to deter Iran from enriching uranium, it will eventually lead to them not being able to do it, obviously, which will lead to lower oil prices because then they will make a deal or they will not have anything left to make a deal. Under that scenario, you would eventually see oil prices heading lower, and with lower oil prices, I mean, simply put, equity prices head high. At this moment, that's the scenario. Till about a few days back, you had no correlation between equity prices and oil. But today, this is the talk of the town. So we deal with what is the talk of the town. Right. I mean, volatility index, look at it this way, right? Volatility index is down 5.25%. So as much as everyone wants to talk about all of these other things, the volatility index is lower. The volatility index was at 21, 22 on Friday. We're at 19.72. You don't see that happen on markets where you have bombs flying over each other, but at the same time, equity prices are higher. So I don't want to keep going on the story of Iran, Israel. At all points of time, this is the bull market. Enjoy it. Buy stocks that look good. Buy stocks that are in strength. They'll head higher. Right. So oil's still down about 1.79. We're about 5 to 7 minutes away from the opening. Let me just give a quick look to crypto, which is Bitcoin still up 106,600, so that's up about 1%. All the other altcoins, I mean Ethereum, Solana, they're all up about 2 to 5%. So this is risk on sentiment. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. Nat gas is up about 4, and gold's falling off, right? And everyone that's screaming about this concept that the 10-year bond yield is going to be an issue and 10-year bond yield is going to be this and that and all. The 10-year bond yield is goddamn the same place where it's been since December 31st. So I don't really understand what is this big farce about this whole bond market that's going. Now, will the bond market react if inflation spikes up or if jobless data gets worse in terms of people losing their job, unemployment rates going higher? Yes, but that's like me trying to tell you today that, hey, you know what, if we have a nuclear war, everybody's going to be decimated, so we should sell our equities today because that could happen at any day someday. You can't invest that way, right? So when the data gets worse, we'll take a call then, right? Because at the moment the equity market is under the impression, and it is currently looking that way, that the labor market is decent. It is not getting better, it is worsening at a very slow pace. Can that slow pace be reduced, and can it get back to normalcy and even higher? Yes. How does that happen? That clearly will happen if the Fed comes in and says that they're looking at cutting more rates than normal, and that they start turning dovish. At this moment, they have this data dependent higher for longer, wait for data to get worse and all of that. The data is substantially getting worse on the employment side. It is deteriorating inflation that is causing these people to worry that can we have consumer demand lower. So consumer demand keeps falling, unemployment goes up, and inflation stays sticky. That's called stagflation, which means basically we're screwed. In plain English, you're screwed if that happens. At the moment, it's not happening, so don't worry about it. When it happens, we'll see, and if and when it happens, right? Why worry about it today? So 4.426 on the US 10-year. Let me actually go and see what's happening with the dollar, which should have been lower. Yeah, it's still lower. It's actually lower than Friday, right? That is something that you should actually see happen. And this was what I was looking at, because the dollar should start getting bought in a scenario when you have an Iran Israel issue. The fact that it's still being sold means that there is some form of a pressure. Like, forget about $100 being broken. You're at 97.808 now on the dollar index. Uh, a lot of people don't realize this. A lower dollar is better for American companies. A lower dollar makes companies that are earning outside America a lot more money. So look at your Netflix, Spotify, Google, Microsoft, maybe to a certain extent even Nvidia, because of the amount that they're selling through sovereign AIs. A lot of it is coming from currencies that are not the American dollar. So they tend to make more money when these kind of situations happen. So their earnings, according to me, will only pick up. Now, a lot of them have come in for FX headwinds. There's going to be a lot of FX tailwinds that are going to come in for a lot of these companies that are service oriented and export a lot of their services, which in essence is what America is all about. They're not a production based economy, they're in services economy. Let's just go over and see. We should be opening in about 2 minutes now. So 2 minutes to go. 21,800 on the NASDAQ. Let me see if there's anything that's currently going on with anything. Meta's up about 2.22%, almost $700 on the stock. So they're going to put in WhatsApp ads. They got the scale AI stuff being done. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening with Meta. All right. Could be $1,000 stock as well. Palantir's up about 2%. Tesla's up about 2%. I'm trying to see if there's anything crazy that's happened in the market on any of the stocks. One of the things that I saw was Celsius, which was the drink, the beverage maker. I've had it and I really like it. That stock's up about 6%. I think TD Cowen came up and upgraded them because they have this acquisition that they did with Alani Nu, and that drink is pretty famous among females. So it is what it is. right? 6.27% up on Celsius, so 43.66 on Celsius. Could it? Its high was about 99. So guys, go check it out. Maybe it goes there. Who knows, right? I'm going to actually look to see if Nvidia can take out its previous high, which was, I mean, it's last week's high, which was about 145. If 145 is taken out, I think 150 is coming this week. And I actually think this is going to be a pretty bullish week against what most people believe. Again, remember, all of this is under the pretext. What I'm looking at is the Israel-Iran tensions reducing, not increasing. Right? Everything that I'm saying is based on that. Yeah. So my belief is that shit's gonna get better before it gets even worse. Mm, let's go see what else is happening. Let me also see if there's anything that's going on in this world about. Okay, this is funny. So crypto billionaire Justin Sun's digital asset platform Tron is set to go public 4 months after. I don't know. This just sounds very topish to me when it comes to crypto. And are we entering? So this is a question that I had the other day. Are we entering some form of an AI bubble? Yes. Is that bubble going to blast now? No. Is that bubble blasting soon? No. It'll have a very close timing to possibly OpenAI going public and a lot more people entering the market at that time. All right. Anyways, let me just go check what's happening with the market because it's opened. Uh, yeah, up about 171.7.8. I actually do think this is going to turn into strength. I don't really think this is going to be a bad day. So my bet is you're going to have a strong day. I think if we can take 21,850, 21,860 out, even higher from there, we could head towards 22,000. And I think it can be done fairly soon, not necessarily today, right? In a week, maybe in 2 weeks, but my belief is we're going higher. Anyways, let me just go ahead and see stocks. Nvidia up about 1.5. Pretty good moves. I'd have to say that. Like, I wasn't expecting this much of an up move on Nvidia, but yeah, that's my belief. If we can take out 145 on Nvidia, I think it's go time for Nvidia, and that could take the Nasdaq into new all-time highs. Right. Anyways, let me just go ahead and see now that the market's open. I don't like looking at it so much once it's open. Crypto's there. So China had some increasingly good data that came out, which was actually funny because I wasn't really expecting that to happen, but somehow it did. So great. One good thing is their export data has been improving. So you know what, guys? If China has better economic data coming out, if their economy is doing better, they're going to be fine with giving up some form of their hold on this trade deal. Because remember, this is what happens when you have trade deals. The only country that loses is America. When you have tariffs, the only country that loses is America. Why am I saying that? Because companies, businessmen, importers, all of them find ways in order to reduce the cost of their product and send it to America so that they pay a lower tariff, or they figure out ways through whatever ways that they have to. But this is what's been happening in this world all throughout, that the imposer of tariffs is the loser. So I don't think America is going to gain that much out of it. And I think Trump knows that. But this is just his way of saying that I need some money because he needs to balance the budget in order to get his bill passed through. And a lot of people are not able to analyze the big beautiful bill, but it is going to make the tax cuts that were there earlier permanent. The whole bull market that we've had in the past year and a half, or not even a year and a half, but at least since he's been elected, is based on this fact that the tax bill is going to turn permanent. And the day that becomes permanent is the day that he got elected, and everybody started expecting this fact that, okay, now we're going to be getting the TCJA done and for sure. But in order for those things to get permanent, you need to balance the budget, right? It's not like I can just do it and end the story. So he's going to increase money into the country, the coffers of the treasury, through all these trade tariffs that he's putting out, right? And that's the plan. I mean, that's how it is. Understand that. I mean, you don't need rocket science to figure out that that's the way things work. Anyways, let me just go see a few things. You guys have any questions? Just drop in. NR says hello, hello, hello. Nice to see you. Okay, what else is happening? What else? What else? What else? Any of the big ones? Anything crazy happening there? Okay. What am I looking at? What's up with Nvidia? Oh, 144. So it's like right there. Okay. Let's see. Meta's up about $700. So that's about 2.57% on that. Palantir about 142. Palantir just hit a new all-time high. So, I mean, it's funny that I had actually seen Palantir in the low tens and never did anything about it. I just looked at it. That's how stupid I am, but that's what it is. You miss some of these plays, but that's that. Mm, what's happening with GTA 6? When is it supposed to be coming out? I thought it got delayed and something happened. I knew the stock fell after that, but I don't know what's going on. Ready to let Zuck if Meta hits $1,000. I think he made some statue of his wife or some shit like that for her birthday. Some weird stuff, man. I don't know what it was, but it was some. Let me actually go check. Zuck wife statue. I think he did. Yeah, there you go. He fucking did it. Ultimate wife guy or whatever. It's a blue color statue. Like I don't know what she looks like, but whatever. He basically made. He was bringing back the Roman tradition of making sculptures of your wife. So that's that, guys. Anyways, so most of the stocks are in the green. We have Nasdaq up about zero point 0.8. We have the S&P up about 0.7. The Russell's up about 0.93. So pretty good day. Don't see any reason why we're going to be having a bad day, at least yet. Okay, let me just go ahead and see if there's anything else that's going on. What are people saying? We're still going to be slightly green. Dip gets bought. Let's see if we even dip now. Obviously, we'll have some intraday dip, but I want to see whether we're going to get into the red. I don't really guess that's going to happen. I think we're still going higher against most people's wishes. This pullback is not going to happen very easily. Mm, let's see. And think about this because I'm just saying this right now, but I have a strong feeling that the Nasdaq is going to hit a new high, and it's going to coincide with Nvidia hitting a new high. It's just my bet out there. I actually do believe that the next few weeks is when Nvidia hits a new high, and or maybe a month or 2 months, whatever. But it'll coincide with exactly when the Nasdaq going to hit a new high. So it's all noise out there. Don't really break your head too much on all of these Israel Iran stuff. It's all chill. Mm, so gonna try seeing if there's Tesla self-driving car revolution starts in Austin. It's supposed to launch the robo taxi service in Austin, Texas on June 22nd. So that's that. Let's see. I mean, if that actually happens, it's going to be pretty bearish for Uber because I don't think they're going to partner. I'm not of the opinion that they're going to partner. The Uber is up about 1.72%, so 85. I mean, more everything's pretty much up today. So let me actually see some of this stuff. What's NR saying? What's Daddy Powell going to do this week? I think he's going to be bullish. No reason why he shouldn't be. I do believe that he is going to be dovish in his outlook for the economy, dovish for the outlook of the employment because it's been resilient. He tends to not think about the unemployment figures and all of that because it's staying steady and heading lower as well. What I would guess is he would be dovish in his statement. The statement of uh, summary of economic projections that they come up with would also be dovish. I think they might stick to two cuts for the year in their summary. So nothing's going to change that much in that. But my bet, I mean, let's try seeing. Maybe I'll go live during the session, during the speech. But what I do believe is that I actually do think that he is going to speak about the fact that he will be ready in case the economy deteriorates. He needs, what I think is, he needs the market to start believing that he's the boss when it comes to fiscal responsibility. So he's going to want to tell everybody that, listen, I've got it under control. Don't worry. Whenever shit hits the fan, I'm going to come in and cut rates. Against what Trump has been saying he's too late. So he's going to try rebutting that without getting into any political issues. That's my view at this moment. That's something that I'm kind of looking at. I actually think Powell's going to be bullish. I think markets, I mean, he's not had a good reputation about markets going higher during his speeches, after the speech, especially. So I'm not sure if that scenario continues, but I really do believe this time that it's going to be a little different. And usually when that's said, it can lead to things getting worse. But I think this time maybe the markets are going to improve post his speech or during his speech, irrespective. Because everyone knows the shit talking that's been going on between Trump and Powell, right? I mean, at least it's one sided. So he's not going to entertain any of that nonsense and give his own approach when it comes to Trump. But when it comes to fiscal policy, he can't really be too bearish as well because there is no data to prove that he's bearish. There is literally no data other than the fact that on the underlying employment numbers, it is beginning to look weaker, but not as weak as required in order to cut, at least in his eyes. That's just my viewpoint. Okay, today's economic indicator results was Empire Manufacturing, which was expected at a -6, came in at -16. Anyways, it's not too important, but it's just something we put together to see. Okay, let's see what else is going on. 202 up on the Nasdaq. Maybe we go up more than a percent higher. I actually do believe it's quite possible that we go up a percent on the Nasdaq. We could close there, close higher as well. Wouldn't be too much to expect that happening. Mm, let's see what else is happening. So Starbucks is some another stock that's looking actually good, right? If it's able to break its 95, $96 level, I think 100, 115 can come back. They by far maybe have one of the best CEOs when it comes to retail, right? With the guy from Chipotle, Brian Nickel, who's come in there now. And he's been paid handsomely, right? Let me just get up his, this is the thing, right? Figure out somebody's incentive, you'll figure out how they're going to do. So, I mean, the package that he has is just incredible, right? He's been awarded 96 million. So it's just fabulous to get that kind of pay. May actually figure out. I also do believe that he did get a private jet that Starbucks has that he's going to fly around in because he works from home. Some stuff about that. It's 10 million bonus in 6 months. He's on nearly 100 million 4 months. All said and done, I actually do believe the stock's going to go higher. Maybe even hit an all-time high next year. I mean, he's just fabulous, right? And he knows what the market needs, so he's going to do that. Now, let me just look. Yesterday's high on the Nasdaq was, which is Friday, was 861. If we're able to break above that, what you're saying is that now we're going to be closing higher than where the market was when you had the Iran-Israel issues beginning on Friday. So, just saying. Yep. At the moment, I mean, everything looks pretty chill. You guys have any questions, just drop in. Most likely, we're going to do this again at 8:30 tomorrow. So that's going to be fun again. At the moment, let me just go down and see if there's more stuff going on. So TSMC has just wrapped up its first chip production plant in Arizona for Apple, AMD, and Nvidia with over 20,000 wafers made. So Nvidia's Blackwell GPUs, Apple's A16 chips, and AMD's CPUs were all part of this initial batch. I don't think people realize the scale at which the AI infrastructure is growing at and the effects that it will have on the market. So that's something that will keep this market going higher and will make more people join the rally late, which will eventually lead into an AI bubble that will burst. I don't know when, but if you guys continue tuning in for live, someday I will take my money out and I'll let you know. Anyways, let me see what the question is. Why the market's up dip bias? No, there was no dip, bro. There was no dip. It is just that people have stopped believing in after April 2nd, after the Liberation Day, people have started to get pessimistic and don't want to lose any form of money, even if that's to a certain extent, even if that is just unrealized losses on a certain extent. Just because you've had a good 23, 24 doesn't mean 2025 is going to be equally a 20% rally. Volatility is the name of the game at the moment. So you're going to have that. And to give you a solid answer as to why this is happening, the Strait of Hormuz is not closed. They're not attacking each other's exports. They did hit each other's oil, but that was once. I think they learned that let's not go down that road. Let's kill generals and let's kill people here and there, but that's about it. And I actually do believe that eventually Iran and Israel, they will not talk, they will not come to a deal together, but they will have some form of a diplomatic stuff that will happen behind the scenes, and it's a chapter closed. Oil is going to go back down to 65. Again, this is all my bets. Don't bet your life based on my scenarios. I could change mine in 30 minutes, right? Let me see. So oil's down about a percent, right? So that adds to the fact for the equity rally. At the moment, oil has an inverse correlation with equities. So the lower oil goes, the higher equity prices will go, because lower oil prices means the Middle East tensions have reduced. Yeah, Palantir trading at all-time highs, right? Do you see all of these things happen in bear markets or even the thought of pullbacks in bear markets? $144 on Palantir, 5% up. Hmm. Iranian advisor to Revolutionary Guards commander. I thought the guy died, but fair enough, we must have got a new guy in. We're ready for a long war and haven't yet made strategic use of our missile capabilities. Just don't even believe all of this. Just understand this thing saying that is their way of saying that, hey, listen, we can hit you harder, but let's not do it. Let's come to the table and talk. Remember, incentives. Everything's about incentives. There's nothing else but incentives that matter. Yeah. So Iran's president goes to Oman's Sultan and says that if the US does not restrain Israel, Tehran will be forced to respond more severely. So what that means is that if Israel stops a little bit, these guys will also pull back and be like, okay, no worries, all good, guys, we're all friends here, right? You don't need to trust me on this fact, but I've seen this happen 1,000 times in the past. I've read about all of this stuff. This is how it works out. And if this actually doesn't work out the way I expect it to work out, then we got shit hitting the fan very badly. Oil hitting 120, recession's coming here. Don't worry about the Fed cutting 25. He's going to cut 250 in a year then. So remember what you wish for. Just going to go and see if you what's happening. We're still 200 points up. The Dow is up about 320. My belief, we're going to take out Friday's high. We're going to close about a percent and a half, and people are going to miss out on this rally. It's just the way it works. Chinese stocks are also doing well. So, I mean, I don't see a reason why any of this is going to be a problem, any which ways. No reason at all. I mean, the Starbucks thing was pretty cool, though. I mean, the fact that he has his own plane to jump around the world in. I mean, it's $100 billion business. What is a $50 million G500? So Meta's introducing channel subscriptions, promoted channels, ads, and status in WhatsApp updates tab. Meta shares jumped more than 2%. I think they should be up more than 2% because this could be a big money gainer for Meta. Oh, just 1.87. Okay, that's fine. I mean, we're still pretty early into trade, so what are we? 20 minutes in, not too bad. Anyways, if you guys have more questions, bring it in. We'll do this for another 10 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead. Let me see what else is happening. 62% of the people still believe that we'll be slightly green, so that is good. Anyways, for everyone that's new here, we do this every day at about 8:30. Today we had some form of an audio video, some glitch happening. So Sean couldn't join us today. Hopefully he joins us tomorrow and all goes well. But at the moment that's what it looks like. So go ahead, subscribe, and I'm gonna try seeing if I can do a post market as well. If you have a great close, maybe I'll do a post market. Right. All the guys in America that want to then come up with some questions post market can jump in and ask me a few questions. Let me just go see if there's anything else that's going on. Because I actually do believe that oil traders are going to get shaken out on a positive headline. I mean, I just have a feeling that oil's not going towards 100, right? That's just my belief. That's the way I would trade if I had to make a trade. Hmm. Isn't post market the pre market? Nah, not really. Somewhere there. You're right, actually. But yeah, why is the markets moving all crazy for me? Just maybe rotate the screen. You'll be able to see it then. I don't know. It looks normal to me. I mean, we're up 2% on Meta. We're up everywhere else. So I think it's a good day. I just don't think people are ready to live through storms. That's what I've realized. People are ready to press the sell button as soon as they see some bad news. Okay, there's a missile hit somewhere. Okay, we got to sell the whole portfolio because there's a recession coming day after at 3 p.m. Just going to stop worrying so much. Chill out. I'm still telling you that the larger worry is not Iran, Israel, unless and until you have some real crazy shit going around there, which is not going to happen in my eyes. The real scenario that I believe is going to be the thing that derails the economy, I don't know when, maybe this year, maybe next, is going to be the employment numbers, is going to be unemployment rate, is going to be the jobless claims that come in. So for me, the most important thing is to look at weekly jobless claims. That's more important. You see signs of jobless data increasing, the bond yield will go towards 5%, and that will derail your stock rally. So that's that. Keep an eye on oil. I mean, in all essence, just for the week, keep an eye on oil. You don't really need to look at anything else. Oil for now is down about 3%. Really? What? Yeah, about a percent down on WTI. So Brent should also be down about 1.09%. It's not too bad. I mean, it's actually pretty cool considering the fact that we're having some form of a move lower. What's Reddit at? It's up about 4.3%, so that's not bad at all. High beta has actually been doing pretty well. I think what NR is saying is actually right. High beta has been doing pretty well. I'm still saying, for anyone that's new here, right, keep a watch on Nvidia. If Nvidia is able to break the 145, 146 levels, you will see 150 come pretty soon. And if you see 150 come pretty soon, you will more than likely end up seeing my bet a new high on the Nasdaq. It's quite possible. Mm, okay, Nike's been heading up. Nike had a bad day the other day. It was down about 3.61%. It's up about 2%. Look for stocks that are taking out yesterday's high, which is basically taking out Friday's high. The most stocks that take out Friday's high, they're going to be bellwethers in this rally that continues. Okay, so just an update. As of now, we've engulfed all of Friday's fall. So we're at 21,900 on the NASDAQ, higher than what we were on Friday when the strikes began. So think about it, guys. If you're able to break 954, then what you're looking at is we're breaking pretty much into territory even before any of these war big things began. So, and a lot of it is to do with the fact that Nvidia is closer to its day's high. The higher it goes, the better it's going to get. So this party is not ending pretty soon. For everyone that's new here, go ahead. We're going to do this every day at 8:30. So I'm tired of saying this also now. So I'm just going to start putting a pinned comment there saying see you at 8:30 every day. Mm, Netanyahu says we're on our way to achieve our two main objectives, eliminating the nuclear threat and eliminating the missile threat. That's bullish, man. Don't worry about that. Look at it this concept. He's on his way to achieve. Once he achieves, he's going to stop. When he stops, market's going to go higher, oil's going to go lower. So, Israel PM Netanyahu says the Israeli Air Force is in control of the skies over Tehran. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, this is weird. I don't know what this was, but Trump organization announces Trump Mobile will launch phones made in America. I don't know what any of that even means, but it is what it is. Right? Okay, let me just go ahead and see a few things. And then we'll call it quits for today. I don't know who's going to be buying this phone that Trump comes up with. Mm, American Express is rolling out its major update, business platinum cards. Okay, fascinating. Maybe we got to upgrade the cards. Trump announces plans to launch new wireless brand Trump Mobile. Trump Mobile will use phone services built in America. I don't know. Anyways, if you guys know what the hell is that, I don't know. Iran is urgently signaling it wants to end hostilities and restart nuclear talks, sending messages to Israel. See, there you go, guys. We have it on live. How much more information do you need? Right now, EU's Sefcovic is to meet US's Trade Minister Greer at G7 to talk trade and tariffs. Okay, guys, this is just bullish, right? I mean, just remember, we called it out on live that this thing is going to end faster than most people began thinking, right? You had the Gaza war going on for 2 years. You literally had this Iran Israel thing ending in like 4 days because Iran's like, listen, we got to make money. Israel's like, okay, we also have to make money. And maybe they joined our live and decided, let's just put an end to this. It's going to happen. They are going to end. Stocks are going to go higher. I've been saying this even on Friday. Most people over the weekend also told me, why? How can you not be? We're going to get doomed. Stocks are going to be in the red. All of this. No, market opened in the green and market's gone higher. What are we? 210 points up, 21,841. Oh no, sorry, 286, 287 points, a percent and a half up, right? Percent up on the S&P, percent and 1.3% up on the Nasdaq, 21,923. Anyways, guys, it was nice talking to you guys today. Let's connect tomorrow. Everything looks good for now. If I do the post market, then you guys will get the notification. So go ahead and notify yourselves and that subscribe and the bell icon so you know when I come live. If I do come live post market, otherwise I will see you tomorrow at about 8:30. 8:30 New York time, right? So take care, guys. Enjoy. Have a good night and have a good day for everyone in America. Bye bye. See you guys.